Hi friends, how's everyone doing? Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have Frito pie. Frito pie, and I'm going to have a true crime story, a local true crime story, okay? So first, I've got some ground beef in here. It's got some yellow, orange, and red bell peppers. It's got tomatoes, onions, and it's ground beef. We're gonna add Frito pie. I made it earlier and I nuked it for a little bit just to warm it up again. Then we're gonna add cheese, tomato, avocado, lettuce, and jalapenos. Okay, so here we go. Let's add the cheese so it can kind of melt. I didn't have shredded cheese, so I had to shred or cut some off of our block. Then I am going to add the lettuce, just iceberg chopped up lettuce, and I like a lot of lettuce, as you can see. Then we're going to add tomato. Let me move this out of the way. We're going to add tomato. And then we're going to add some jalapenos. These are pickled jalapenos. And then I also like to add red chili flakes. Of course, you can add whatever you like to yours, but this is how I like to eat mine. And then who doesn't love? Who does not love avocado, you guys? Okay, then to top it all off, we're gonna add sour cream. Doesn't that look delicious? So it's like layered. You have your ground beef, your Frito pie, your Fritos, your cheese, lettuce, tomato, jalapeno, avocado, and sour cream. So let's start at it. It's really hot, you guys, really hot. I had just cooked it. Oh, and I didn't pour, but we're going to have cherry apple juice. Cherry apple juice. I'm out of Coke Zero. So here I am. Should I bring it down, you guys? I feel like I changed chairs, so. Okay, well, we'll give it a try. We shall give it a try. I did write notes just so I can stay in chronological order. But let's eat some first. We'll get into our true crime that happened here in South Texas. Should I take off the apron? It's so hot, you guys. It's like the less clothes, the better. Wink, wink. Cheers. It is so hot. So hot in South Texas, you guys. So hot. Here we go, you guys. Should I use a fork or a spoon? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna move it to the bottom and take my little riser off. I think because of the bowl, it's more difficult for me, but look, here we go. Yummy. So hope y'all are having a great meal, a nice warm meal. We've been eating cold sandwiches, you guys, because it's just, they're good sandwiches, but it's just too hot, you know, and I don't know why I decided to cook this today. Oh my gosh. I mean, look, you guys. Who likes true crime stories, you guys? Sometimes they can be a little bit gory. This one, it's not going to be too gory, but it is sad. It is sad what people go through and what they are willing to do, right? Hurt somebody else. So this happened in the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. This first started in 2020 during the pandemic, I guess. So let's get into it, okay? This young lady's name was Melissa Banda. Melissa Banda was 37 years old. She was young, she was beautiful, she was smart, the kind lady. Melissa was a mother of 3 children. At the time, there were 6, 10, and 12. All girls, I believe. Her children, like most mothers, were the world to her. She coached one of her daughter's soccer teams. She worked full time, and she was always willing to help somebody less fortunate than her. Like I said, Melissa Banda was 37 years old. But prior to that, Melissa had filed for a divorce from her estranged husband. Now, before I get more into this, you guys, I'm going to insert pictures so you can see pictures of Melissa Banda. And this is all public information. And the pictures are also public information. So hoping I don't hurt someone, and I hope I tell the facts as they were and are. Also, it's to like an awareness. Always check your surroundings. You think you might know someone, you don't know them. You might not know everything about them. And when you feel a little bit off, trust your instincts, right? So Melissa Banda had filed for a divorce from Richard Ford on November 7th, 2019, and obtained a temporary restraining order against him. "14 days later, Melissa called the McAllen Police Department for protection from Ford because he was on his way to her house. He had just been served divorce papers. So at that time, I'm assuming they were separated. She filed a restraining order, so I guess he was upset. So he was on her way to her house. Now, Melissa had called the McAllen Police Department numerous times. With reports that he was stalking her, harassing her. So on February 28, 2020, Ford choked Melissa, impeding her breathing while threatening to hurt her and to hurt their children. He threatened her that if she called the police department and reported the assault, he was going to hurt them. Melissa had had enough, and his threats didn't deter her from calling the police department. He was arrested for threatening her and violating, I guess, the protective order. He was arrested and released the next day. Like, what good is a protective order, right? Okay, hold on, you guys. I'm going to take the apron off. Okay, now you see me with my bingo shirt. So the day that he got released, that same day he went and was bothering her again. On June 8th, 2020, Melissa called again to report that Ford was stalking her. She was at the Gold's Gym in McAllen, and he was stalking her. On June 8th of 2020, Melissa called the police saying Ford had violated her protective order. On June 30th of 2020, Melissa reportedly called police saying Ford had violated the protective order. Ford grew progressively more and more violent, as evidence presented by a series of phone calls in 2020 to the McAllen Police Department. On July 7th, Melissa told police she suspected that Ford was using a photograph on a website offering services to females, causing her to get many messages from females looking for those services. A day after she reported it, she thought Ford was stalking her and might have planted a tracking device in her vehicles. Also, she had reported at one time that she thought while she was at work that Ford had maybe picked up one of her vehicles to put the tracking device and then returned it to her. So, of course, she called the police, reported her suspicions of that tracking device on her vehicle, and that he was violating still the protective order. Remember, they were going through a divorce. So the day before the modification hearing of Melissa's divorce, Melissa told police that she suspected Ford had taken the car from her home and returned it with a tracking device. On the day of her divorce modification hearing, Ford drove to her house hours later and forced her into the back of a SUV that he had rented. Her screams drew the attention of her nanny and neighbors, who called the police. He forced her into that SUV he had rented. This was hours after the hearing, their divorce hearing. He was later accused of driving to her house after the divorce hearing, ambushing her at the house. Police were called, and I don't know what happened. Everything was quiet. Nobody said anything. He didn't get arrested. On August 6th, Melissa Banda went missing. August 6th. So the divorce was just the day prior. August 6th, she went missing. This day was also the day that she was murdered, approximately at about 2 p.m. He killed her, you guys. He killed his ex-wife, mother of his children. On August 7th, she was reported missing to the McAllen Police Department. He took her on August 6th. That's the day that he killed her, approximately at 2 p.m. But the family reported her missing August 7th. A few days later, on a Sunday, August 9th, he was arrested in South Padre Island. South Padre Island is a beautiful island town on the coast, the Gulf of Mexico. It's beautiful. So that's where he got arrested. He got arrested. Ford got charged on Sunday, August 9th, with aggravated kidnapping, and his bond was set at $4.5 million. $4.5 million for kidnapping, and I guess aggravated assault, or I don't know, but it was for kidnapping. Maybe the violation of the protective order, and then she couldn't be found. So I'm thinking that the police, the judge, already kind of knew that it was bad news, right? 2 days after her kidnapping, you guys, August 9th, Melissa's body was found. Isn't that terrible? Melissa's sister claims that her family and a search party had spent over 30 hours looking for Melissa. She says she would have kept looking for her and wished that this would have never have happened, of course. Her sister was dead. The mother of those 3 beautiful children were dead at the hands of Ford, the ex-husband. I have a little excerpt here. What I know recently is that Cynthia is Melissa's sister, and they are suing. She's the one that has custody of the kids, and they are suing the McAllen Police Department for not enforcing the protective order and protecting her, and not letting her of something else that was in his history. Richard Ford Jr., Melissa's ex-husband, was arrested and charged in connection to her death. So we know that, right? I'll tell you the story in a little bit. The rest, I'll keep adding to the story. But Ford purchased, like on August 3rd, they found that he had purchased a hunting knife, duct tape, disposable razors, cable ties, BBs, like for a BB gun, CO2 cartridges, tweezers, chocolate, box cutter knives, and an airsoft handgun before his ex-wife's murder. So when they found that she was dead, Ford then faced a slew of charges in his role for Melissa's kidnapping and murder. This included capital murder by terroristic threats in the course of aggravated kidnapping, assault on a family member, and by impeding her breath and circulation, violation of the protective order involving stalking. Melissa's cause of death includes slitting her throat and dumping her on the side of the road in the city of Donna, Texas. Ford had a checkered past that was unknown to Melissa. And I think they were married 13 years. Anyway, he pleaded guilty. Listen, he pleaded guilty to attempted murder of a man in 2002, as well as assault of a different man. So there's two men. One was dead and assaulted another man. Melissa was unaware of this. That was in 2002. Her death was 2020. Okay, so time's gone by. You know how these things take forever. On March 3rd, 2021, Richard Ford Jr. pleaded not guilty to all counts regarding Melissa Banda. So he pleaded guilty to killing that man in 2002 and assault of another man. But for Melissa, his ex-wife, mother of his children, he pleaded not guilty. Crazy, right? So that same year, 2021, it's a year's gone by. On November 8th of 2021, the state announced it would not seek the death penalty on Ford. He was sentenced, finally, this year. And his sentencing was going to be, we don't know yet for sure, but his sentencing was not going to be the death penalty, but he was going to be sentenced to life without parole for the murder of Melissa Banda. And then he was finally sentenced. They stuck to that, no death penalty. But he was going to serve life without parole. This was sentenced March 7th of 2024. Months ago, you guys. So, at least the jury was convinced, even though he pleaded not guilty. He was the murderer of Melissa Banda. She was 37 years old. Here are some notes that I took, during and from different clippings and reports and things like that. Just, things that for you to make you go, things to make you think about, right? That are also regarding this case. These are notes from the interrogation. The officer who interrogated or did the investigation was an officer Trevino. This is one note that comes from Ford himself, the murderer. He allegedly grabbed her and covered her mouth as she began to kick and scream before he forced her into the back of the white SUV. I hope and pray she didn't suffer. I hope and pray it was quick. So sad. The scream alerted Melissa's nanny and neighbors, who frantically phoned the police and told them that Ford had kidnapped her. They didn't want to believe it. Also, you guys, I guess it's difficult sometimes because, you know, I'm not defending the police department, but defending the police department. A lot of times, it's the person who requests the restraining order and doesn't stick to it. They forgive them, they go back, they stay at the house, let them come near. So I'm sure police have seen both sides. I'm sure maybe they had something else that was going on. You know, there's always crime that's a little bit worse that they don't even pay attention to. Domestic violence, abuse, restraining orders. And they should. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but, you know, it's hard. There's a lot of people who cry wolf, and then some other people are the ones that pay for it, right? So, Ford previously had pleaded not guilty to attempted murder and assault in the 2 separate cases. But after a criminal background that was allegedly not known by Melissa, when he was arrested and that 4.5 million bond was set, he admitted that he had done that. He claimed guilty that he had done that back in 2002. So they got him for that as well. And Melissa was unaware of all of these ugly things he was doing, right? So the city of McAllen claimed that the McAllen Police Department did almost nothing to protect her, despite her calling the police numerous times between November 2019 and August of 2020. She called him over 9 times. 9 times might not seem like a big number, but I guess when someone is so violent and aggressive, that's a big number. Just one last note, you guys. She died alone. Her body was found in the bushes. I think in the suburban, was found in the SUV on a rural road in Donna, Texas on August 7th. Her throat had been slit. And she had minor cuts that weren't the cause of death, but she had cuts. I guess she was trying to fight them. It was brutal, you guys, brutal. So she fought till the end. He cut her throat with a knife. She wasn't dying, you guys. He had to hold her breath, impeding and blocking the airflow, covering her nose and her mouth. Now, these are notes from Richard Banda, the murderer himself. Sounding all innocent to investigator Trevino. We're going through a divorce. Me and my wife were having problems. He was heard telling investigator Trevino. During the questioning by investigators, he was stating he wanted to explain that he had gone to Melissa's house to speak to her about his recent visit to the bank just prior. Shortly after, he claimed that an argument ensued outside of the house. The last thing I need is the police to get involved, he told the investigator. Like, hello? Did you forget? You know? These are his words. He said, I grabbed her and held her because she was being hysterical. He told investigator Trevino he had tried to shush her and calm her down. I didn't beat her or nothing, he said later. He told investigators that he had held her against the wall and that he wasn't trying to choke her. He said he took Melissa into the garage and gave her some water to try and calm her down before her sister arrived, which was a lie. He also said she was paranoid for some reason. He said earlier in the interrogation, we have been married for 13 years and I've never laid a hand on her. He also said that they had had arguments in the past, and that was actually the first real fight. Ford had asked for him to be released, asked if pictures had been taken of Melissa, and then asked if he could see the pictures. He said he just wanted to know so that he could lawyer up. Before the interrogation video ended, that's what he wanted. Investigator Trevino told this to the court, that he appeared to be calm, but also upset about the charges he was facing. Third-degree felony, assault of impeding breath. He said, "Are you kidding me?" That's Banda's words. So that's it, you guys. True crime story, South Texas. Melissa Banda was 37. She was a mother of 3. Now the sister is the guardian of the 3 children. And he's sitting in prison for life. But if you have a restraining order, don't go back on it. Enforce it, or go to a counselor and y'all work things out, something, but crazy things happen. So if y'all have any comments, questions, maybe notes I didn't get to read, or there's a lot more, you guys, but I just didn't want to be for it to be so gory. But the facts are all there. Really sad. And there's many other true crime stories that happen here in Texas, in South Texas. So if you like this true crime story, let me know. Comment, suggestions, questions. Did you like the food? Did you like the story? And I'm going to post, the reason why I researched this story also, you guys, let me tell you, you'll get to see the picture, I'll post it, was Father's Day this year, 2024. We went to go visit my father at the cemetery. And we're waiting for my sister-in-law, who had just been there, but we're waiting for my sister-in-law. She was, where, she called, and where are you? Well, we're here at the parking lot and getting ready to go see my dad. My mom was with me. And she goes, "Oh, okay, I wanted to come to the house, but I just left, so I'll come back and meet y'all there." Okay. So she comes with the 3 kids, my nephew and my nieces, and it's me and my mom. While we are waiting for her, there's 2 mausoleums on each side, and then there's, the cemetery is huge, but this is where we're at. So I see this plaque, and it says Melissa Banda. It's a bronze plaque. It's beautiful. And I keep looking at the dates and looking at the dates, and I'm like, this name sounds so familiar. And she's almost the age of my daughter. And, you know, I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. And I took a picture. So you can see the shadow of my mother, and then you see my shadow, and I took the picture of this plaque. And thinking I was going to ask my daughter or my son, hey, do y'all know this person? And you couldn't tell just by the date, but you couldn't tell, you know, like sometimes on a graveyard plot, you can see if it's a fresh burial or, you know, if it's whatever. It doesn't matter. But anyway. So I just kept bothering me. So anyway, when I spoke to my daughter later that night, I told her, hey, this and this happened. We're waiting for my sister-in-law, and I saw this. Do you know who this is? She goes, no, Mom, I don't know who that is. I don't know if Melissa Banda was from Weslaco. I do know she was in Mission. She lived in Mission, Texas. She lived in McAllen, Texas. But I don't know how she came about to be her final resting place in my town. Anyway, so I have that picture, and I just couldn't rest, and I couldn't rest. It kept coming in my head, so I finally, you know, asked cousin Google, and I started reading up on it, and I go, oh, I remember. So that's how it came about. But you'll see the pictures. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, any more information, he is serving a life term. Hopefully he stays there for life and doesn't get released. But anyway, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all like this story, if y'all want me to do more. And we'll see you next time. Y'all take care. Say a little prayer for Melissa Banda's family and children. Bye, guys.